Hey, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Kingdom Courtship Live. We are your hosts for this evening. My name is Salim Wright. It's my lovely wife.
Raisha.
And we want to welcome you guys to another beautiful episode of Kingdom Courtship
Live.
If this is your first time watching, don't forget as you watch to like us on Facebook, to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. All right. So tonight is a super exciting night for us as we are heavy coming up on some big event for us.
Yes.
Baby, you want to tell them about the big event that's coming up?
Absolutely. I'm making sure our special guest gets on. So we are headed to Norfolk, Virginia next weekend. So next Friday and Saturday, Kingdom Courtship is still touring.
Yes, we are.
And we're looking forward to having an awesome time. So if you haven't already, do so. Get your tickets. We'd love to have you travel with us if you're from the tri-state area. If you're from the DMV, wherever you're from, come on down. It's only about 5 hours from
where we live.
Right, from where we are.
But
so
if you live in Maryland, it's not that far.
Right.
So where are we going to be?
We are going to be in Norfolk. We're
going to be at Gethsemane Community Fellowship Church in Norfolk, Virginia, where Reverend Dr. Kirk T. Houston Sr. is the pastor, and Lady Houston, right? And I don't want to mess up her first name, so I don't want to say that, right? Lady Houston is the first lady, and Dr. Houston's wife.
Isn't it Sharon though? Or is it pronounced differently? Okay.
Kirk will tell us. Kirk, you'll tell us, right? I don't want to mess up your mom's name. But anyway, tonight we are super excited. We have a special guest getting on with us tonight. This is someone who's near and dear to our heart.
Yep.
He was big part of our...
Yes, I was right.
You was right, Sharon. All right. I'm thinking Shireen.
That's not even a name.
Oh, did you watch House Party?
Oh.
Okay. But anyway, so yes, my train of thought. Oh, Kirk, yes. So Kirk Houston Jr. is our great brother in the faith, and he was a part of our courting process. He was a part of our accountability, in particular my accountability. We were roommates together in seminary, and I just love him to life. And he's been just a tremendous blessing to us. And so we're gonna bring him on tonight. And tonight's show is about what's it about, babe?
Sorry, I'm doing the Facebook stuff. Just go ahead and tell that part because I want to make sure I get it on. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So tonight is about what I know now, right? Everything I wish I knew before saying I do.
Right.
And a lot of times, we talk to married people because one thing we're realizing as Kingdom Courtship is evolving, how much we have been an encouragement and a blessing to those who are already married. Our thought process has been and still is to minister to those who are not married, minister to people who
Sorry, I'm trying to get it.
Minister to people who are not married, minister to people who believe God has called them to be single or believe God has called them to be married. Because a lot of times people get married and then they end up having a lot of regrets or a lot of issues or a lot of drama.
Right.
Because the process leading up to the marriage did not bring God any glory.
Right.
And, that's why a lot of times we see these issues come inside of marriage. So a lot of people are of the mindset, man, I wish I knew
this,
then what I know now. Right. And so that's what tonight is about. So we're going to bring on our brother, Kirk. Let me see. We're going to bring on brother Kirk. All right. Yes. Going to join us. And so he is the associate pastor, I believe, at Gethsemane Community Fellowship Church in Norfolk, Virginia. There he is, the man, Kirk Houston, my brother.
Good people?
Hey, how? Can we
minute.
see us and
Kirk,
you?
do we have audio on your end, Kirk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh. technical difficulties.
Hold up.
Let's see what
It
we
says
got here.
headphones. Maybe.
I am. Let me take it off. Can y'all
Hold
hear
on
me?
one second. It could
Hold
be on
on.
our
It
end.
could be on our end. Let me see.
Can y'all hear me now?
All right. Yeah. All
Say
right.
something.
Say something, Kirk.
Something.
Yeah.
There we go. There we
What
go.
is that? That was.
Awesome.
That was our microphone. So
Got
it's
it.
all good.
All right.
All right. So,
Okay.
yes. What's up, brother?
I'm good. Yo, y'all got me excited. I felt like I was in the locker room. Y'all called my jersey number. I was in my room getting hyped. Like, yeah, let's go.
Right, man. You know what I'm saying? It's starting lineup from
Exactly.
Norfolk, Virginia.
All the way.
Right.
Number 5, Kirk Houston Jr.
Right.
Hey.
I got really excited.
Yes. So Kirk, right? So we know you, right? You've been an amazing person in our life. And we said, a little bit about you and some of the things that you do. So just kind of, I guess, just share with the people more about you, kind of your calling, even like, how long you've been married and all that good stuff, just so you kind of paint a picture of who you are, for the people. So.
Okay. All right. So as mentioned, I am Kirk Houston Jr. A lot of people know me as KT. I'm from Virginia, and pretty much raised here, born in Florida, but raised in Virginia. And a church kid, 5th generation minister. My father is a pastor, and he founded the church over 25 years ago. It's 27 now. And just raised up in that church. And when I was in college, God called me to ministry, and I pursued that throughout college and grad school. And prior to college, actually, I met my wife, who I'm married to today. We met in high school, and then we became official when she attended Hampton University, and I went to Norfolk State University. And we dated for years until we got married in 2009. So we started dating in 2001, got married in 2009. And now we have a beautiful family, 2 boys that's 8 and 5 years old, and we've been married for 9.5 years.
Wow.
By and so 10 years in August it will be. So that's kind of everything in a nutshell. I currently serve as youth and young adult pastor / executive pastor at
Slash.
right, / drummer
/ drummer / praise and worship leader, all that.
right. All of those things. And so that's me in a nutshell. My mission is to inspire, inform, and instruct people to live in the will of God. And so through preaching, teaching, counseling, and being a friend even. So that's me.
Wow, man. So tell you guys a quick story about when we were in our courting process. Kirk was getting married. He got married in August while we were in seminary.
Was that 777?
No, 8.
8.
Your August is 8.
Oh, 8. What's your? That's it. 8. You're right. 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes. So Kirk sent out invitations. He invited me and Raisha to the wedding, and we were like, all right, the wedding's in Norfolk, great, well, whatever. But me and Raisha were like, Kirk, we want to come, right? Because I was in the wedding. I was like, yeah, but I can't come just with Raisha. Like I need accountability. I need somebody there, because we were getting a hotel and all that stuff. And so Kirk and Ashley were so gracious to let us bring another person who was crucial in our accountability. And so her and Raisha shared a room, and I got my own room. And in seminary, we wasn't making really no money, so it cost me a little bit of change. Yeah, I wasn't. It cost me a little bit of change. I was working at the library. Okay, it cost me a little bit of change, but all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's get that together. Amen. So it cost me a little bit of change to buy an extra hotel room, but I did it so that I wouldn't be put in a position for any unnecessary temptation or anything like that. That was our good sister Tierra Neal who came through in the clutch. And so I thank you even for that, right? Because that was big. Not saying I would have tried anything, but even a hotel is late. Yeah. I'm in seminary, but I got flesh, so I praise God that for having you and actually understand what we were going through as our process and really help with that accountability. So that's, I tell that story a lot when we teach about courtship, but
Right.
that's just been a big blessing.
All right.
So let's get into it.
Yes,
Right? Let's
we're
get
ready.
all up in it. Right? So that topic
Absolutely.
is what I know now. Right? All the things I wish I knew before I said I do. Right? And so we all been married around the same amount of time. Kirk's 9.5 years. We'll be 9 years this year. In June it'll be 9 years for us. So what are the top 3 things, right, that I would say you know now that maybe you didn't know before you got married, that maybe had you known would have helped you, in your marriage right now?
So the number one thing that always comes to the top of my mind, to the front of my mind, is I wish I knew how selfish I was. So I learned earlier that in marriage, my first couple of years of marriage, I'm like, hey, I'm really selfish. And then even now, so I'm like, I'm still kind of selfish. I didn't think I was, and I've always growing up been a humble guy, kind of go with the flow. Any of my friends and family, if they want to do something, I'll go along with it. However, I realized, it wasn't the same, in marriage. I thought it was, but clearly it wasn't. Disappointed my wife on, several occasions because thinking about me, and so and not about the bigger picture. And before I got married, I wish I would have learned to think about things again more than me. That more than how does this benefit me, but how can it benefit everyone associated to me? Or because I knew that I was going to be married. My wife and I had been dating for some time, and we knew we were going to get married. And so my thought process should have been, okay, how does every decision of mine going to impact my family in the long run? Out to student loans, something as simple as student loans. Like, okay, if I don't pay this back now, how is it going to impact my budget and our finances, once we get married? Little things like that. It's can be selfish, especially if you know you're pursuing marriage and you'll be married soon. You need to think long term and not just about, again, yourself, but again, your significant other. And even if you all have children, how would it impact them? And so that's kind of like one thing for me is, hey, man, you are selfish as it pertains to your career. You situate yourself and, position yourself for your profession. Again, we can be self-centered in that regards. Family wise, it's kind of about me and my family. Well, no, it's about you and your wife, period. And so, you love them, obviously. You don't stop loving your family, but that has to become the priority and the main piece. And so I've learned that, still learning it, like, hey, you got to deny yourself, and as Paul would say, put the interest of others before your own. And so that's my number one piece.
All right. So you talk about being selfish, realizing like how selfish you were. So I would say, is there anything that you know now that maybe you've always known, but you didn't necessarily experience? You didn't experience it. Like you kind of knew this was marriage was about. Now that you've experienced it, like you have a greater understanding of it. Like what would that be, or something like that would be for you?
Yeah, almost along the same lines. Like I understood that love is to be a sacrifice,
right?
But you don't realize how great that sacrifice is until you're married. How far you have to go. I always say to my wife and friends that theologically and theoretically, I kind of understood what marriage was, but for the husband, our role is to, love our wife as Christ loved the church.
Right.
And so that's a great sacrifice and a great burden and responsibility that we have to carry. And in all honesty, like I knew I needed to be responsible, but and make sacrifices as a result of that. But I wasn't sure how to actually live that out.
Right.
And I wasn't, and if I can be totally honest and transparent, I wasn't committed to living that out. you know, to the extent that it needed to be. And so again, for me, again, I knew we had to sacrifice, but didn't know what that looked like on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And I knew I had a, you know, huge weight of responsibility. But in all candor, I was kind of spoiled coming up, and you know, my parents took care of my sister now well, and I ain't have no worries necessarily. While you know, while other people were, you know, in the financial aid line, my parents had that taken care of, you know. Or you know, I only had when I came to grad school with you all, I had 2 bills, and I left Virginia, but I only had my car note and my cell phone bill. That's all I had.
Wow.
You know, and so to a certain extent, I was somewhat irresponsible because I didn't have much to care for necessarily. And as a result, it kind of went into, you know, my marriage. I knew I had to be responsible, but again, I didn't build that muscle per se of being responsible and being willing to make sacrifices and things of that nature for the family. So yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
No, that's good, man. That's good. That's good. I'm thinking about like what you're saying and the advice that you're giving, and we pray this is definitely an encouragement to those who are watching. We got a lot of people watching tonight, so that's a blessing. I've seen this done with celebrities that they'll sit and they'll write a letter to like their 14 or 15-year-old self. I'm sitting here thinking about, you know, because I remember when I got married, I went to my father-in-law and to my bishop, and I just asked them. I said, "Do you have any advice?" Right, like I think right around the week of my wedding, or even the day of my wedding, especially my father. I was like, "Do you have any advice?" And you know, I think my dad, my father-in-law, he said, "Don't mess up." You know,
Right.
You watch
it. I'm like,
don't mess up.
I said, I appreciate that.
Man.
But if you were standing
Richard
in the
Minor wasn't
right,
playing.
there's the right, you stupid. There's the you know, there's the space like right before you're about to walk down the aisle and stand in your spot, right? So if you could rewind back to that day, right? And let's say you're in the room with yourself, right? And and it's just you and KT, right? Younger KT, right? What I mean, you said a lot, but what are like those key things you would say to him right before he's about to say, you know, say his vows to Ashley? Like what is it you would say to him in that moment, like right before he's about to, you know, go into this whole fanfare of the wedding ceremony and all that?
Gotcha. I wasn't ready for that question. I had my little script, my pre-notes, you know, threw me off my script, but no, it's all good. No, I would tell young KT, one, can I take it out of that day, that wedding day, and kind of go when we went to buy the ring? And so I'll go backward a year before I purchased the ring. I would tell young KT, really get to know yourself. And so, you know, we've heard the saying by Socrates of the unexamined life is unworth living. And it's important that you get to know who you are. And I don't think I truly understood who I was, or what I have become over the years. Both the good things, the bad things, my weaknesses, my strengths. I wasn't clear on those things. I was just really kind of living, you know. I understood my calling. I was a Christian. I think I was a good friend, but really searching my heart and examining who God had made me to be, or at least wanted me to be, I didn't have clarity on. As a result, there were some insecurities that have led to me not having strong convictions and being able to lead my family or my wife courageously, confidently, and so I would again tell my younger self, hey, get to know you. But also on the flip side, kind of the same point is get to know Ashley, get to know your wife. We had dated for years, and I enjoyed her presence, but I don't think I pursued her heart. And My wife always tells me now, like, hey, you don't know me, you don't understand me, and I was like, yes, I do. I've been knowing you for 20 years.
Right, I know you forever.
Right, exactly. I know you, but did I really? And honestly, I would have truly spent time trying to understand who she is, and where she's come from and how that impacts her life today. And as a result, understand who God needs me to be for his daughter. And because I didn't understand me, because I really didn't understand her and who God wanted me to be for her, or needed me to be for her, some things didn't go as well as I, anticipated or would like them to have gone. So it's just, for me, get an understanding. If I can just summarize, get an understanding of yourself, the person that you're dating, like truly. First Peter says, I think it's chapter 2. It mentions dwell with your wife with understanding. And that's my prayer, like today, literally, is Lord, help me understand, so that I can, and the Bible even says, and all that good understanding. And and that again is about myself, about my wife, and most of all, what God desires. Because again, my wife isn't my mother, my wife isn't my sister, my wife isn't my auntie. So some of those people I already understand to a certain extent. My wife isn't any other woman; she's her. And so, and I got to cater to that and not to anything else. And so, and I'm me, and I got to, live according out of the, I guess, authenticity of who I am, and who God has made me to be. So, period there, I can talk.
That was powerful, man. That was amazing. I think what kind of stood out for me is where you talked about not just pursuing her, but her heart. And this, I want to give a plug to 5 Love Languages. If anybody's out there, there's a book called 5 Love Languages. There's an online assessment. Just take that so you can even know how you love. Because typically we give love the way we receive it. And that's not necessarily the way our spouse or spouse-to-be or even our friends receive it,
or the
right?
way you want,
or the way you want it to be received, right? So we're gonna open it up to questions from our viewers. There's one question.
It says, "Have you ever received bad marriage advice from any other married couples or individuals?"
Exactly. So some of the people I've received advice from are up here now, so I will not say.
Wait, I missed that.
Some people he receive advice from, they watching right now. If they watch, if that's you, we're not gonna rebuke you. All right, we just saying, don't check.
Well, they didn't have to know that they were the ones that gave the bad marriage.
I'm just kidding.
They know it's that. They be like, oh, that sound like me. That sound like Craig. Craig, you told him that, Craig? I ain't telling him that. Yes, you did.
Right.
Yes, you did.
So if I'm the answer that question, no,
you don't have to answer.
Yeah, so I honestly can't say, or at least to as much as I can remember, I have received any bad advice. My counsel per se, is very few who I seek wise counsel from, and so those who I do talk about marriage with, and prior to and even afterwards, I think they've given good advice. So sorry, Danielle, my sister, for not answering your question. But I really can't remember anything that someone shared that was not good for marriage.
No, that's actually a blessing, because a lot of times people don't have that. They enter into marriage with some of the most terrible advice. I've heard stuff like, make sure you marry somebody like your mama, and it's like okay.
Why is that terrible?
Because it's not even like marry somebody like your mama. I think what the underlying principle is, like, you should marry somebody who will be your mama, right? Who will cook for you and be domesticated for you.
Okay.
And almost like wipe your nose and change your clothes and like mother you. And men, grown men don't need mothers in the sense as if we're boys. And that's sometimes that advice is perpetuated. Some men think that's what they need. I need a woman to mother me. Like, no, I don't. Like, I'm grown.
Maybe some men want that.
But
if that's what they want, then okay.
But that's bad. That's bad
it's
advice.
Their choice.
It's bad
if
advice.
That's what they want, if they know that this is what I want.
Then ladies, don't. If he wants you to mother him, run.
She might want to.
Then both of them need some help.
No, they might.
Okay.
That could be a personal choice.
What?
What is wrong with that?
You have an Oedipus complex.
No.
Yes.
Not literally like a mother, but
yes, that's what they want. They want a mother. So I don't want a mother.
That might not be bad.
I can't. I'm grown. No bueno. Sorry.
Anyway.
So. No. So, Kirk.
Yep.
As far as I know, you're married. You have children, right? And even being a father and being a husband, those are different labels that you kind of have to navigate,
right?
And having that balance as far as those areas are concerned. So I would want to know from your perspective, what are some of the things that you're glad you know now, that has helped you, in the sense of being a better husband and being a father, and all these things. Like, I'm glad, and you may have always known them, but you're like, I'm thankful that I knew this and that I still know this.
Yeah. One of the things is, and mainly taught by both of my parents, and definitely my father, is being present. And that can be challenging. I haven't, always gotten it right, especially with the life and profession that I have in ministry. It can really, take you away from home. But my goal, my aim all the time is to always try to be there. And so, definitely for my children and, even for my wife. And again, in all candor, I haven't, hit the mark per se. I'll fall short of the glory. If Ashley was to tune in, she was like, how present were you then? So, but I know
that's how present were you.
That's something that I've always known, and I know, it has been beneficial. In times when I wasn't present, particularly for my wife or with my wife or with my children, it hasn't gone well. And so presence is like the main thing, that you're always there and around, or available, if you will, when they need you, and things of that nature. And so that's something I'm glad I knew and know now, and still working on making sure that I'm carving out time to make sure that I'm present with my family.
Amen. So we have two questions that came up. One is, knowing what you know now, would you have waited to get married?
Yeah, I think I did need some more time to cook, to marinate,
to stew a little bit.
You are the first person who I would say admitted that. Really?
Oh, that's surprising.
That's very mature. Like, most people be like, no, I think you are literally the first person who.
Wow. Yeah. I wasn't totally ready. Obviously, you're not gonna be perfectly ready.
Right.
I think that's not realistic for anybody. However, as I mentioned earlier, I think I did need some more time to learn and grow a little bit more, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, so that I can be a little better for my wife or what have you. So, and even as a couple, nurturing some habits, whether some better communication habits, and just other areas, of our life that, needed to be more disciplined, pursuing God more, together. Like, one thing I admired about Salim and Raisha, as I observed their courtship, is that, they were in pursuit of God, and they were serious about their walk with the Lord. And so we were serious too, but not together.
Gotcha.
And so, and that's, I think we need a little more time to work that out, before getting married. And so, but I'll speak for myself, is that, yes, I do think I need a little time.
Okay.
But I don't.
Say again. What'd you say?
But I don't regret it.
Amen. I know that's right. That's a blessing.
So how do you create boundaries? This is a good one, because I remember I used to ask this question a lot. How do you create boundaries between your marriage, family, and ministry?
Yeah. one, you do, and this is an ongoing lesson for me. So I'm not saying that I'm
Right.
not speaking from a place of perfection. You definitely got to make family number one priority. Two, you got cut it off when you get home. You got to cut things off. I didn't always do that well by any means. And you do that, you have to communicate that with your with those you serve with. So again, I'm a pastor full time now, and so you have to communicate to your team. At this time, it's family time, or this night is family time.
Right.
And I would say this is something that I'm trying to work on. You really need to pinpoint days and times that are solely catered for your family. So at the beginning of the year, we plan our entire ministry calendar. So we should plan our entire family calendar. Actually, plan the family calendar before the ministry calendar. A lot of times I've got caught because my ministry calendar all filled in. And I'm kind of doing it on the fly, if you will, with my family. So my advice would be to set those boundaries. Really, at the end of the year, plan your next year with your family first, and then fill in the blank with your ministry.
Man, Kirk, that was powerful right there. Wow! Man. Oh my gracious! Wow! All right. Somebody squeeze.
Love your transparency.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
That was excellent. Plan your family calendar before your ministry calendar. Wow, that's awesome.
Somebody said, I love how he continues to say, I'm still working on it, because it shows that a marriage requires, active participation.
Active participation,
yeah. This thing don't stop. That's one thing I wish I knew. No cruise control, no autopilot.
Right.
Consistently.
I wish I'd have known that. You got to be on it at all times.
Wow. Man, that's awesome. So we have a special event coming up, right? We transitioning, man, because we coming to Norfolk.
Thank you.
So yes, that's. I give you a round of applause, my brother. Round of applause, all right? Amen. So that was amazing. That was. I was just a blessing to have you on, and we're excited because in 2 weeks, right?
Yep. Next week
we're going to be in Norfolk.
Yes, 757.
Yes. So tell us. All right. So we're excited, right? We're excited, but we know we got some folk from Norfolk watching, right? They're watching because Reverend KT, Pastor KT is on, right? So those who are in Norfolk, Delaware, and Maryland, right, and Virginia, and Pennsylvania, right? Why should they come to the Kingdom Courtship tour at Gethsemane? Why should they be there?
All right. First reason why I would say you should be here in Norfolk next weekend, March 29th, is I don't think they had anything like this before. Matter of fact, I'm quite sure. I've never seen anything in the 757 about courtship specifically, and knowing the difference between what's dating, what's courtship. And so that's number one reason. You haven't heard this information before, especially in Gethsemane. We haven't talked about it from this lens or this perspective. And so secondly, it's always important that we continue to grow and understand what God desires for us to have or develop a healthy and godly relationship with opposite sex. And so if you desire to grow more and nurture your relationship with others, you want to be here. And two, Raisha and Salim going to be here.
Amen. We going to be there.
Now, I don't say that just to be funny or what have you.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, because I was there, they lived this out. So they're not speaking from what we learned in class. They're speaking from what they lived on a daily basis. And I've always admired and they inspired me. As a matter of fact, I tell college students who come to me now about dating, I say, hey, you need to talk to my friends Raisha and Celine. Pursue or, trying to understand what it means to court. So I really think you want to be here because Raisha and Celine, Pastor Celine and Pastor Raisha have valuable insight, information based on experience to share with everyone in this area, in the Norfolk, Hampton Roads, from all over. Yeah, and so that's why you should be here.
Man. And I would add too, because a lot of times people think that our topic or our tours or our conferences are only for the millennials or the younger people. It's not. We meant if you are 18,
you 18 and older, because the content is raw, it's real. The oldest person we've had, actually our first conference, two of our panelists, they had been married at that point, I think over 50 years at that point. Yeah. She said, shout out Deaconess Dottie. She said, I learned something. She said, I wish they would have taught me this as I was growing up. And this is somebody that's been married for over 50 years. Who when she said that, my mouth dropped. Because I looked to her and her husband for what ideal marriage and what the process is supposed to look like. And the way she broke that thing down, I said, and we've had people as old as 60, 65, that's not old, but 60, 65, come to the conference and be like, man, they were so blessed.
I was talking
married people come and be like, oh my goodness. They snuck in there, but they were up in there. And they said they were blessed. So it's for everybody. Young, old, 18. You gotta be 18 or older to be there. But we're excited. So guys, make sure you register.
Before we close, you guys got vegan restaurants?
I don't know. Come on, y'all know.
Ain't no vegan in the South.
I gotta bring my own butter.
But we're gonna make sure we have vegan stuff for you all.
All right now.
I'm gonna bring my butter with me.
I'm getting my vegan pork chops cracking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is tofu vegan?
Funny.
Yeah, it's vegan. She don't do tofu though.
I don't do soy.
I do every blue moon. So
no soy product.
Yeah.
None.
Gotcha. All right.
Man, this was a blessing, man. We are super excited. We're gonna be in Norfolk, y'all. Tickets are still on sale. You gotta register, guys. Yep. Please register. KCVirginia.eventbrite.com to register. Guys, make sure you register because we're expecting a huge turnout. We're excited about the college students we're gonna be able to minister to, all the people we've never met before. Norfolk, we're gonna be in the building. We're excited. And just road trip. Yes. All right. Praise God.
Right.
So thank you guys for watching. Thank you to our beautiful guest, our brother in Christ, Kirk Houston Jr.
Yes.
Don't forget, guys, there's a better biblical way.
Not bitter.
The way of courtship. Make sure you share this video, like this video, follow us on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we will see you guys at the top. Right? See you next week.
So I love y'all.
Love you too, bro. Peace.